I'm a little behind times. Uh, Behind times? Yeah. I finally saw the DVD for the last Starfighter. Oh, I never think I saw the old copy of it, but I saw the DVD, and they kind of got into detail how they did it. People were using computers. 83, yeah. People were using computers to make titles on film. Yeah, you got titles and everything else. But the last Starfighter actually had an object that looked like a starfighter, and with some green screen in the background. They actually did that. Now, at that time, there was very few portable or personal computers. And most of them, like the app, I had an Apple II Plus, that you couldn't really do much on it. You could do the little thing going around eating, whatever it was. And it was just at the beginning of games for video games. Something that looked real, that thing. But they used that concept in their movie, The Last Starfighter, and they used it, what they were using to power everything. Now, everything had to be drawn out and digitized. That means somebody had to make the drawing where they put a digital unit across it and press little buttons. And it was all tied into a Craig. Well, what's a Craig? Consider your room that you happen to be in right now, and these great big, tall, look like there were computers. Mostly, almost like they were still wired computers. But that was the most powerful thing they had. And all the additional artists, as they were known, started on that. And people said, well, can we do this? And can we do that? And can we give that thing? They gave the Starfighters and all the Starfighters and that metallic looks. So they looked like real Starfighters. And the backgrounds were all Starfighters. And the fighting was all Starfighters. And the pyrotechnics was real, but nothing else was real. Why the pyrotechnics was real? It was the early stages of blowing things up. What can we say? Buck Rogers? Look at that. The TV series. Yeah, something like that. But it is very interesting, considering what's sitting in front of me right now was a Craig computer. And I remember that when I started at the food company, seeing I worked on repairing Rainbow 100s when I was at Triton College for a course. And when I got to the food company, I saw 12 Rainbow 100s sitting in the hallway. And I said, well, why are these here? Well, they don't work. And I said, well, the reason they don't work is that you put in a 5-inch floppy into the computer. And when you turned it on, I presume there's on a floppy, it gives a signal to the computer and say, hey, I'm a digital 100 floppy, because those floppies cost $25. And if it didn't see it, it blew a capacitor. And could the capacitor be repaired? Yes, it could be repaired. You have to open it up and do this and solder this and everything else like that. And they said, yeah, okay, well, it's not worth it. We're throwing them out. But then they happen to have, they had some $150,000 desktop computers. Yes, what was it? Oh, I forget the company. It's still like a Cisco. Yeah, they had a couple of those things. And in 6 months, they were obsolete. They had a silicon graphics unit. That was $500,000. They upgraded it with $250,000, and the next upgrade they threw it out. It was too big. They took a desk side computer and cut that down to a large waste paper basket thing. Basically, it's for memory. You're talking RAM that used to be those little strips. Oh yeah, it's I seem to have seen the early stages of desktops. Zenith had out an early stage of desktops. Big, heavy, bulky. The whole bulk of it was that thing, and there was, why, it's running 40 megabytes. 40 megabytes? 40 megabytes? 40 megabytes? Yeah, well, Windows 95 was something like 13 megabytes for the program, which basically Windows 95, Microsoft Windows 95, and a Dell computer basically buried Digital Company. They went out of business. I don't know if at that time they went out of business, but they literally went out of business because everybody wanted a Microsoft Windows 95. But I looked at their program, The Last Starfighter. It looked very interesting. They explained how they did it, and they showed how these people sitting at computers, mainframes, tying everything into a mainframe, and creating something that it's all digital. And they were shocked, or other industry people were shocked at what they could do what they could make the thing. I believe the original Star Wars was remastered, and extra things were put into it. A lot of practical stuff that you saw the original Star Wars were replaced by a digital ship. And what they looked at, one of the things they showed on Last Starfighter is the ship firing and then going underneath the camera and then back up again. And they said, oh, that's really cool. Wow, you can do that. Wow. Of course, this Last Starfighter made their debut and everybody loved it. And everybody who worked on there had a permanent job. Right like that. Then that changed. Of course, Windows 95, when that came out, yeah, that changed everything too. And of course, when you have Adobe coming out with their production, they did that. I think, was it Serious Magic? That was a good one. The guy had the green screen behind him and the camera sitting on there, and then now he can change the background to look like anything else. And it went from that to a larger green screen, and a person could stand up at that. And then Adobe took over Serious Magic, and they incorporated it in their production. I know I've got somewhere I got Creative Suite 3. Ooh, that was expensive. So I could do that. Why is that behind me and still green and isn't some background? I'm cheap. I'm lazy. I would very likely, it would go, instead of Adobe CC, I would go for DaVinci 18 now. You can do that. You can do it with a lot of programs. Zoom you can do it with. I think this computer here has Zoom on it for some strange reason. And oh yeah, to make it, you can change the background and everything. So if you want to be in Paris right now, I could be in Paris, or I can be in somewhere else. Not sitting in front of this laptop and looking silly. Oh, there should be a light above me, shouldn't there? And well, I got a main light here, and then I got a soft one here. But people say, "Oh, you don't always come in very good. You look in pretty bad shape." Yeah, I used to have a white background. I still got a white background. It's still hanging, but I put a green screen in front of it. Doesn't work very well. Well, why not? Why not? Okay. Well, that's the last Starfighter. Go get the DVD. It's really, really interesting because they do the commentary over the movie and they can tell you how everything was done. I liked it. They might say, well, it was all crude. Maybe so, but it worked. There was computerized stuff, and there was practical stuff. Especially when they're doing the laser bits. that's. Oh, they did that inside the thing. Yeah, well, they were doing that thing. I remember a woman back in the 70s. They were doing stuff in video and transferring it to film. So it was all there. So that's it.